our face like they have in the groups.
Well, we
used to have them, but some of mine broke.
Oh.
Anyways, this is the Hit Play Podcast.
Skill issue.
Brought to you by nobody. Connor's back, everybody. Connor's back.
Did you miss me?
We missed him so much. It's been like, what, 3 episodes? 4 episodes?
Something like that. You guys keep recording on days I'm busy. It's not my fault.
It's nobody's fault.
Skill issue.
We're just,
It's got me there.
just trying to, Yeah, just quit your job already, Connor.
I'm very close, my guy. I'm going to be so real.
Just pursue your passion of film
Being home-
podcasting.
Yeah, being homeless.
Yeah. Hey, we're not homeless yet.
Yeah. This one works.
Anyways, we're back. In spite of recent labor negotiations, we're back. All 3 of us are together. It feels good.
They gave me a
all
pay
be
raise.
back. Yeah. This week, we are discussing what are we discussing?
You're the one who pitched the concept.
I
my
did.
God, why'd you look at
We're
me?
discussing streaming. With the numerous amount of services out there nowadays, it is a weird time to be a streamer. We are somehow going back to cable,
Yeah.
which is weird. I came across this because Bob Iger recently came out, and he...
During Pride Month?
I told you to make that joke.
I didn't want to. I tried. You could see it in my face. I tried to not do it.
I was hoping somebody would get that one. Okay, good.
I had that split second where I was like, "Oh," but I've already made that joke.
Yeah.
Wait, you
Yeah.
picked up the slack for me.
Anyway.
Connor will never let me down.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, Bob Iger came out recently and said that we invested too
He's
much.
gay?
For the record, Bob Iger is not gay that we know. We are not insiders.
And if he is,
We
that's
accept
his
him.
prerogative.
We are allies on this podcast.
We are?
Anyway.
You get the pass because you are actually.
Yeah, I know.
you remember the community.
yeah.
Anyways, he came out and said we invested too much in the Disney Plus. Disney Plus,
Right.
really. So,
Not just him, but his predecessor.
yeah.
So he's really throwing that man under the bus there.
Bob Iger, if you don't know, is responsible for modern Disney.
I figured.
He left about 5 years ago and came back 2 years ago because Disney was like, didn't know what they were doing. And from reading between the lines of articles about his return, he I don't know what you were going to say. I'm just going to keep going. Yeah. He basically pulled like Game of Thrones type shit and back on top.
Yeah.
So, Connor,
That's my name.
as a fellow, or as the everyday man on this podcast,
Sure.
as you are token everyday man.
Yeah.
How do you feel
I
about
don't
Disney?
like being called token.
How do you feel about?
How do I feel about Disney Plus?
Yeah. How do you feel about Disney Plus?
All right. As the layman, when they announced that they were doing it, when they were making their own server or service, not server, been at work too long. My initial thought was, well, dang, there goes Star Wars on Netflix. And I was like, if I want to watch, if I want to watch any of those movies, I got to go pay $15 to Disney or whatever.
Yeah.
As for the shows themselves, I've watched a handful at the start when it was new. We talked about I watched Mandalorian. I watched.
I think it was just The Mandalorian for like the longest time, wasn't it?
It was that was the only reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was some Marvel shows because it was what's the
Scarlet Witch?
the Scarlet Witch show.
That
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
until like 2 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just the Mandalorian up until.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I watched the shows. They were okay. Mandalorian was good. Scarlet Witch one was all right. And then they kept doing shows, and they kept not being good. And then they kept doing shows.
There was a point in the article that you sent me about that Bob Iger interview.
Yeah. Where he came out. And
Yeah,
said-
where he came out.
and said,
He said at one point, and to me this was the linchpin of the whole thing, there was a single sentence that goes, Bob Iger conceded that the push for more content put them ahead of Netflix and Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And to me that whole thing was like, So it was worth it, essentially.
Yeah.
The complete downgrade in quality of all content across the platform was worth it because they made more money than Netflix or Amazon.
That was basically my takeaway from that article too.
Yeah.
I was reading it at the bottom. He's like, but yeah, we made a ton of money, and I was like, well, then you're good. Like,
Yeah.
mission accomplished.
That's why you're CEO again.
Yeah. I was like, nobody else. No, we all know you don't care. Like,
No, dude, Bob Iger, huge Star Wars fan. You wouldn't believe it.
Maybe
but
that's why he's back. He saw the Acolyte and was like,
Do we want to get into Star Wars now?
I have watched Obi-Wan and Andor. Those are the 2 Star Wars shows that I have watched.
okay.
I enjoyed both of them. Personally.
I heard the Obi-Wan was good, and I heard Andor had a lot of like loud fans.
Yes.
Yeah.
It has a lot of loud fans for a show that is not a very loud show.
Andor is
Yeah.
like what I've heard is a political science
It's as
allegory.
Ooh, and Star Wars fans
Basically
didn't like
Animal
that? That's
Farm,
crazy.
but it's space is what I've heard.
yeah. It's basically Star Trek but in Star Wars.
No wonder Star Wars fans had a lot to say about it.
It's about as leftist a political message you could get at a corporate monopoly like Disney, essentially.
Yeah.
Basically,
So it's just a bunch of rainbows on the screen.
it's just pandering.
It's
It was
just
written by
blatant
Tony
pandering.
Gilroy. It was the show was written by Tony Gilroy, who has been involved with Star Wars since Rogue One.
Yeah.
And so he, in my opinion, I have faith in him. He's a good faith writer, I think. In the same way that like the guy who was behind the Clone Wars, who now does like Ahsoka and stuff like
Yeah.
that, he's good. You know, we can keep him.
He's one of the good ones.
He's one of the good ones.
We don't have to take him out back.
Yeah. But for some reason, I think my big issue with those shows that I have seen, my biggest complaint always comes down to what feels like a lack of focus with the style and the
Yeah.
actual like direction and art direction of the shows and the acting. One of the things that Disney is doing that because these are more franchise shows like Marvel and Star Wars as opposed to Netflix, which is just doing new shows,
Whatever it wants.
just
yeah.
whatever it wants. Because these are established franchises, every time they announce a new series and they announce a completely new cast that just features like 5 random celebrities from, you know, any A-list, B-list, whatever. I'm like, these guys are just in it to say they were in Star Wars.
Yeah.
They're essentially not here to do acting.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
literally what Marvel did
yeah.
and still does to this day, where it's like, hey, by the way, we have Salma Hayek. And it's like, that's cool, but also, Salma Hayek kind of sucks as an actress. So it's like people only like her for 2 reasons.
It's like the way that they will just take individual actors and just plop them into characters in their show
Sorry, Isaac's joke just hit.
just to have them, you know, for the name
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just so the actor can
100%.
put Star Wars on the resume, essentially. I don't really respect that
No.
personally. I think that Andor gets away with it because obviously the main actor for that show, Diego,
Yeah.
whatever his last name
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
he's a fantastic actor. Same with Obi-Wan, obviously.
Obviously.
Obviously. Even Hayden Christensen, who returned for Obi-Wan for a few scenes. He was fantastic in
Well,
that.
spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I mean, controversial. He was good in the prequels.
He was good in the prequels too, you know? And these shows were not written by George Lucas either.
Yeah.
But regardless, that
Different
is
conversation.
for, in my opinion, of the Disney Plus shows I have watched, my biggest complaints have simply just been the acting and the visuals. I have no problem with a streaming platform that wants to make as much Star Wars content as they watch,
Right.
as they want to. Bantam already did that with the paperback books in the freaking, 70s, 80s, 90s,
Yeah.
whenever.
Yeah.
You know.
What?
What?
Oh, please tell me that camera didn't
Did
just
that
shut off.
camera just shut
Did
off?
that camera just die?
Did that camera just die on us?
It's literally fully charged. What the hell?
Is it still recording?
Technical difficulties, everybody? Who wants to play the achievement technical
That was
difficulties
weird.
song?
Okay, we're back.
It's still recording though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it
Should we
recording that entire
resync?
time?
I don't know. I guess we'll see. What
We will find
My
out.
entire rant will be through camera
Audio?
B. Yeah.
This entire podcast is just Isaac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a picture of like my face in
Yeah.
anger.
I'll do something.
Say, yeah, if he's not there, can you
Just make
do,
a
like,
tech note.
Oh, really
For the,
bad.
for the editor.
If it's not there, ping me, James. You'll send me a picture of you like kind of angry, and I'll Photoshop like angry
Okay.
eyebrows on you.
We'll do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the end of my rant.
Connor, you are the certified Star Wars fan. I think.
Why am I the certified one?
Because I think you're more into the lore than me and James. You've read Legends.
I've read a fair bit, yeah.
How do you feel about Disney Star Wars?
So I can't comment on a lot of it because I haven't seen a lot of the shows, is the thing. I have read a lot of reviews, and I was like, these don't sound like they're worth the money for the streaming service, and I don't want to sit down and binge watch these. So, like, to me, Disney Star Wars was great
Yeah.
for show-wise because I watched The Mandalorian Season 1 and Season 2, and I was like, these were awesome. And then I didn't watch anything else
But
because it was
that
bad.
also doesn't. Go for it, James.
I do want to make a small amendment. Legends and canon are completely separate things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when Disney took over Star Wars, they said, "Screw Legends.
Yeah.
We're restarting the canon."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
They have managed to take over some stuff from Legends, mostly Thrawn, who is like the star character
Yeah.
of Legends, who everyone
guy.
knows and loves.
Yeah, yeah.
I heard that his appearance in the Star Wars canon was kind of poor,
What do they do to the man?
but
Oh, no.
nevertheless, yeah, it's talking about Star Wars sometimes kind of makes me feel insane because you want to talk about all this fantastic stuff, all these cool characters, and like the new Jedi Order and all this, you know.
And we're back. Sorry for technical difficulties.
Number 2,
I think Isaac just forgot to charge things.
James said you guys charged it.
We did.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going
I think
on.
the battery's just
I don't
crapped
know what's
out.
going on. Anyways,
bad.
Disney Star Wars. Let's start there.
Okay,
You-
now that I know what we're talking about
Yeah.
specifically,
Yeah,
Disney
yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
All right, they have a smattering of good films,
Define smattering, like
a handful.
1.5.
Yeah, Rogue One.
And then like half of what is the first one called? Not a New Hope. Force Awakens.
Close.
half of Force Awakens until you realize it's a repeat of A New Hope.
No, it's half of Force Awakens until you realize that Finn isn't the dominant character,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
They
We'll get
ruined
into
it.
that.
That was a cool story plot that they could have
We
done.
can get into that.
Yeah, and then the show, again, I didn't watch enough of them to really comment on the overall qualities, aside from just what I've seen online, which you have to kind of pick and choose, like, okay, is this person really, like, just like, wow, this show is bad, or is this person just mad because change?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that second one.
A lot of that second
There's a
one.
lot of that second
I saw
one.
one. So the newest episode of The Acolyte, which I guess we could touch on in a little bit. People are mad because Mundi is in it, and they're like, "Wait, this show is set at this year. Mundi is actually born this year." And in my head, I'm like, "Who gives a fuck?" Like, my brother in Christ, there are not specific birth certificates for each individual character.
It's also like going back to what James said, which may or may not have been recorded, about the like what's canon and what's legends.
Yeah.
That information is old.
Yeah.
Like that could just be
Yeah.
they just changed it, and
Yeah.
it's because he didn't have a new canonical age. Like who cares? That's such a moot point. Like
It's really hard to go through and
Yeah.
wade through. Like, are you pissed just for the sake of being pissed, or like, are you
are
pissed because
are
it's a
you-
bad show?
Exactly, because like that I had that a lot with the new trilogy, the sequels.
Yeah.
No,
those are actually bad.
and like well like there was a lot of times where I'm sitting there reading reviews and people talking about it, and they're like oh, it's bad because like XYZ lore thing, or like
Yeah.
this thing, and like I'm mad because a woman's in power, or like there's a black man on screen. I'm like, dude, the writing was the worst thing in the
Yeah.
world. The Bionicle movies had better writing than this. Like, come on. Like, argue about that. Like,
He's not wrong.
I was like, you realize we're watching Star Wars, right? I
Yeah.
mean, they takes place in space. There is an alien over there. Like, it doesn't matter what these human characters are doing.
These people move things with their minds.
I'm like, they're using a blade of pure light that cuts things. Like,
Also,
It's not real.
Fire doesn't exist in space.
how did Leia zoom
That's like the
herself
worst
back?
thing to get mad about. No, I agree.
I mean, but like, like it's just there was a lot of that where I'm just like, come on, be an adult.
I think people have gone too far.
Yeah,
The internet has gone too far.
the internet has
Yeah.
gone too far. Go back to what
I mean,
it was
I
made
think we
for.
touched about it when we did the whole like review bombing of Morbius, where you're like, if you're just being mad for the sake of being mad, you need to go unironically touch grass.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's what it boils down to.
Like you actually need to go seek professional help because that's not
Yeah.
okay. Now,
Like-
I don't like Disney because I don't like Disney. I think they're the most unimaginative company in the industry right now. I actively boycott them. I don't buy anything Disney. I don't go to see, like Sarah wanted to go watch Inside Out 2 and I was like, I'm not watching a Disney movie. I don't watch Pixar. I don't watch anything. It's all crap.
Right. So no wonder you don't have joy.
I don't watch Marvel movies. What?
I said no wonder you don't have joy in your life.
No, I just put on Heat on repeat and just, you're wasting my motherfucking time.
Explains a lot about Isaac.
Give me all you got. That's all I do.
Starting to understand some things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, go on. Continue.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's
Yeah.
it. That's really it. I actively cannot review these things because I just don't care to watch them because I just don't care for Disney as a company.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, it's funny that you specifically mentioned in your morning rant that may or may not have been recorded due to technical difficulties, where you said that the end goal was to just, for lack of a better word, to take the market share from Apple, Netflix,
Netflix,
Hulu.
yeah.
But what's interesting is Disney is actually seeing a sharp decline. I think they lost 4 million subscribers over the last year. Let me look it up.
Well,
I mean, when you focus on quantity over quality,
oh yeah, and eventually you're gonna have the drop.
I was thinking about that earlier today about like
Yeah.
the
4 million within the same quarter of the previous year.
this streaming business model of churning out these TV shows in this fashion has essentially turned television into the same like planned obsolescence model that we see a lot of like
With like phones and stuff.
Yeah. which if you're a creative who works in this industry, that's not a good feeling
Yeah.
No.
for anything you create.
No.
And if you're a fan, that's not the kind of thing you want to watch at the end of the day. I think Disney is probably mostly because of they just focus on Marvel and Star Wars.
Yeah.
They were the first that people kind of said, no, I'm done with this right away.
No.
Yeah.
And they jump shipped. But Netflix has been doing that for how long now? So it's
Yeah.
only a matter of
How
time.
much of it do you guys also think that with having to watch every new installment of everything in the universe, like if you miss, like what I've heard about the Marvel universe is if you miss 2 shows, you don't know what the fuck is
Yeah.
going on in the next movie.
So I'm a comic book fan
Yeah.
and a nerd.
James actually has like 15 installments of X-Men on order at Dragon Slayer. James is like, I love it. You guys are pussies.
The way that universes are set up that way, I'm not necessarily against that.
Yeah.
But typically for normies, that can absolutely be tiring.
Don't call them memories.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No. I see what you're saying.
Exhausting.
Yeah.
Like
Because you think, because
are-
in the context of a comic book, it comes out once or twice a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each installment, so that's 12 installments over a year, roughly. Whereas with a TV show, it's like you have to put in, 8 to 10 episodes every 3 months, which is what, 8 hours, 8.5,
Something like
10
that, yeah.
hours, if they're hour-and-a-half episodes, roughly. I don't know. Don't quote me on my math.
There's also
So
the
it's like
mild.
a big time commitment. And then there's 3 of those shows being released before the next movie.
Yeah.
unless they're willing to like take the quality as low as like a soap opera
Which I think they have in some instances.
in some instances.
Ant-Man.
I feel like that's the only way that it will really be able to sustain that level
Yeah.
creativity behind the scenes in a way, which just will not work for the Star Wars or Marvel universe, in my opinion.
But then, like, you also, like, come across the thing, too, is that, like, how many times can I say like in that sentence? Jesus.
English much?
With comics and stuff, a comic release is not a big deal as it is with, like, a movie. Like, the movie's whole thing is that, like, they want you to go in opening weekend. It's in the theaters. That's when they're making their most of their money. Same with streaming. They want you watching their streaming stuff when it drops. So as you as a casual consumer, you're like, oh, like, I got to read...
We got to buy a new camera.
I got to read, like... should I just keep going? Or? All right, cool. I got to read, like, 30 comics before this next one comes out. Well, that's okay if it takes me a month because this one's going to be here. They're not waiting for me to show up on opening day and, like, to get the best experience. That comic's going to be that comic. It's always going to be that comic. I'm not going to get the dumbed down version on my crappy TV instead of seeing it in IMAX. But, like, with movies and stuff, it's like, well, I mean, this is a cultural thing. Now I got to, like, go see, like, 6 episodes of this show, another 4 of this show, so I can go with my friends to this opening movie, or else I'm going to miss out on, like, this hangout time, this thing. I'm not going to see it in its good quality. It's going to look like crap on my laptop while I'm watching it during work. Like,
well,
I feel like
we're
there's some of that
also
playing in,
talking
too.
about Star Wars science fiction and Marvel superheroes.
Right.
Very effects heavy storytelling.
Yeah.
In a comic book or in a book, you can write anything. The only thing it's going to cost in a book is word count, and for a comic, it's the artist's, arthritis.
No.
But, like,
Their soul.
for a TV show, it made perfect sense that Disney would resort to using AI the way that they did for a lot of their newer shows, because you just
Copy and
can't-
paste.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't push that much effects-laden content on your employees in the amount of time that they're giving them to create this stuff.
Yeah.
And audiences notice that. Even look
Yeah.
at movie releases like that, the clips from the Black Widow
Bad.
movie.
Yeah, I saw a one of those, like, comparing old CGI with new CGI where it was like Transformers, and then it was like this. I think I said that to
Yeah,
you.
you sent it to me.
And then it was like, Lord of the Rings and then Black Widow. And it was like stuff like that. And one of the comments was, see, CGI was so new, people didn't know how to cut corners back then. And I think
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of that comment is the nail
That's
on the head,
not-
like, super well.
It was that, and I think I said I was like the difference that having actual practical effects versus just a bunch of green screen suits does too. Because a lot of the new CGI,
Well, like
is
Transformers, they're actually on the streets
Yeah.
of LA, like getting shot at.
just, for a couple of the Transformers, they had actual like machines.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like now it's just like, well, we're just gonna CG generate it, and so like
Yeah.
then it looks bad because you're not building over a skeleton.
Yeah, man, Jurassic Park was so different when they had real dinosaurs on set.
You know what I mean? I'm not trying to circle jerk practicality over here. I'm just saying that's a part of it.
Connor's becoming one of us.
I've been wanting you before. I was like this before.
I think the comment that you sent me that was like something practical
Yeah,
effects.
I was
And I
like,
was
he
like,
knows.
yes, we got him.
He knows what I'm gonna say. I'm just
We
not
got
even
him.
gonna, like.
We got him, boys. Yeah, I think.
Shush.
I don't know. What is Disney's next move? What do we think?
Bankruptcy?
No, I think the mouse
Obviously
is too,
not,
I think
no.
the mouse is too big.
It's too big to fail.
Yeah. At this point, because they have their hands
mean,
in so many different avenues of production.
One would hope that they take people leaving and they go, maybe we should start making good products.
Yeah.
And hire actually good writers, and get decent enough actors, and we make some good content.
Yeah. I think it also can be understated. The
No,
effects.
it's just that argument is like there's a word I can't find, but that is the go-to explanation for everything bad in Hollywood and filmmaking. It's just why just make good
yeah, no,
movies
I know, right?
instead.
Yeah.
Hire good directors and good actors.
My favorite thing to read on Reddit is when people were like, "Oh, well, it's going to be a year and a half between shows. Like, don't rush perfection." It's like, I don't know. Game of Thrones season 8 was utter
Yeah, I was
trash,
saying,
and it took like 5 years to make.
Yeah.
Like, just because a show takes a long time doesn't mean
No,
it's going to
it's-
be good. I don't know why people equate time equals. I think that's another thing that is the problem with modern streaming is we wait a year and a half, 2 years for 8 episodes.
Yeah.
And it's like, where are the 13 to 15 episode series?
Yeah.
That of the mid
Where's my
2000s?
50 episode launch from animes? Like,
Personally, I kind of like that. I
hate it.
you would
It's better when it works, though.
when it works.
You know, like very short, succinct, tell your story. You know, do it in 6, 8 episodes and then get out of there for that season. I like that. And it makes sense when your business model is focused on doing that as fast as possible.
Right.
You're not going to be able to do that for, 25 episodes
Yeah.
in a season.
Of course not.
So I don't mind short seasons personally. I just mind them being rushed on the production line like a conveyor belt, one after another, with no regard for giving time to make the CGI look quality.
Make sure that the
But
story
the problem
is actually
is they
succinct in
have
8
the
episodes.
time and they still look trash.
Yeah, that's
Like
well,
85% of the shows do.
That goes back to one of
'Cause
my
it's-
original complaints, which was the art direction in the
Right.
shows and the actual direction in them. It just looks bland. It doesn't look cinematic.
What's
and-
that stupid what the theater? What is it called? Like the
Oh, the CG, the
Yeah,
lighting set.
it's some-
Yeah, I've
but
seen
every
that
show
before.
uses it where they basically just film like in a circle, and it's just computer.
It's
CGI
essentially a
imagery.
computer
Jeez.
matte background
Yeah. I
hate
is
that.
what it is basically. And
But that's why all the shows have the same look and feel to them because it's just that.
It's just efficient.
Yeah. I mean, you go watch like Percy Jackson, and you're like, oh, this just looks like Obi-Wan.
Is that show good? Percy Jackson?
We could do another plot on that one.
Well, just okay. Fair enough.
I have takes on that one. It's a kids show.
Okay,
So
that's
if
fine.
you go into it with the mindset of like I'm watching a grown-up, like
yeah, you're trying to. This is for my generation
Yeah.
that enjoyed these books, not the generation that never read them.
this is for like your 8-year-old cousin to enjoy, not
yeah,
the person
the
who
kids
grew
who
up.
had no idea what
Yeah.
it was. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Love to hear.
I enjoyed it, but I can also understand both sides of the argument.
only our
Anyway.
generation understands Greek mythology.
Exactly.
Unironically, you might be onto something with that.
James, you laugh, but we can have a podcast about brain rot.
Unironically, just scrolling iFunny through Percy Jackson memes when I was like 15.
If we
My
ever
brother
have
needs
to
a canon
rename
event.
the podcast, we are renaming the podcast The Brain Rot. We would have
Can
to.
we just open with
No, we'll
Skibbity
just
Toilet
start a
every time?
new. We'll start a new series called Brain Rot where we talk about like just stupid
Even
stuff
better.
like that.
Even better.
Oh, dude, can
We'll
I
talk
ruin
about
that?
like TikTok trends or something.
Can we
Well,
get
I don't
Rebecca on that one?
No, it's gonna be all this stupid like F1 thirst traps with Taylor Swift songs on top.
Anyway, we're talking about streaming service.
Yeah, back to streaming services.
Paramount Plus.
Yeah, let's talk
Let's
about.
leave Disney for a little while. We turned into a Star Wars podcast for a second.
Now that
there.
we're done kicking the dead horse.
I think it's a discussion that needed to be had.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
And we'll continue
because
to
all
have
of
it.
these, I mean, with the strikes as well that happened last year, potentially some happening this year. Who knows? A lot of productions,
just got
a lot of shows are being canceled. I
Yeah.
mean, I was a part of one with Walker.
Yep.
I've heard of many others that are either moving or they're sizing down. So it's a weird time right now where we've expanded so much, and now it's like, okay, now we have no sustenance behind these apps
Yeah.
because there's no money coming in,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's like just a lot of people losing their jobs. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird time.
Yeah, a lot of people losing their jobs.
With that comes the recent Paramount is being sold, allegedly.
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 Paramount Plus is being reworked as we're talking. They want to do like I don't know if you guys read the article, but they want to do
Skimmed it.
something similar to like Hulu. So how Hulu is on Disney Plus now,
Yeah.
they want to do something like that with a big company. They didn't say specifics, obviously, but
They said that they had interested
Yeah.
speculators, tech
so it would
companies.
still be Paramount's Roku TV. God, what happened to Quibi? I still want my $10 back for backing that one.
It's Acorn TV, the British streaming service. For like BBC or whatever.
Dude,
But I
love
think that's
BBC.
interesting
Channel
because
4.
it's kind of we're going back to cable,
Yeah.
and I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. How do we feel about that?
I hate it.
I predicted it since day one.
You did actually.
I think
remember,
everybody
I remember
predict-
James
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not everybody, but yeah.
Well, I mean,
remember,
day one,
I remember
like,
having
middle
that
school.
conversation with you.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
We've like maybe like more high school. I just remember like talking about streaming stuff, and you like kind of mentioning like it's just gonna come back to the same shit.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, no, I hate it. I despise it. I'm on a PC. I shouldn't have ads on anything that I do.
It's weird because
Whoa, man, we're on YouTube right now. You can't say that.
or Spotify. Yeah, man, we're trying to get money on Spotify.
Yeah.
Chill out. You were complaining about not
Cool
getting
it.
money doing this thing.
He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it.
You just can't trash our potential investors. God damn it, Connor. We're gonna-
Ads for thee, but not for me.
Note for the editor. Cut that one out, please.
Why couldn't you have said that when we had technical difficulties?
I think it's yeah, right.
Hey, how do you know that we haven't been having them? Maybe one of the other cameras. shut
Dude, I'm
off.
so
I think
nervous
it's
right
just-
now. Don't say that.
I think it's funny that people were like, "Oh, I only pay for Netflix because it's like $6.99. Oh, I pay for this because it's $5.99. Oh, I pay for this because it's $15.99. Oh, I pay for this because it's $10.99."
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, this is as much as my cable bill.
Yeah.
It's just back to $100.
yeah.
Just like
It's a weird thing. How do we feel? Do we like Paramount, James?
Paramount. What can you watch on Paramount Plus?
You can watch all Taylor Sheridan shows.
That's true. You can.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can also watch Harry Potter, I believe.
You can
as well.
watch.
yeah, it's a good reason.
I think Harry Potter's on HBO.
I thought it was on Peacock.
It's on a couple, I think.
It's on a couple, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's on
We'll talk
Paramount
about this in
Plus.
like 5 minutes, but I
Yeah.
hate when like franchises sell rights to different movies and different.
Oh my god!
Like Alien One.
talk about that right now.
Alien
Yeah,
One
we're
and
talking
Three.
about that right now.
Alien 1 and 3 are on Hulu, and I think Aliens is on HBO, which is stupid. I think
It's
before HBO Max came out, all the Harry Potters were on different ones.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's another one I saw that recently it's like on Netflix. Like 1 and 2 are on Netflix. I've seen like Terminator 3 on Hulu and Terminator 1
Yeah.
on Terminator's on Paramount and Terminator 2 is on Peacock.
I'm trying to think of what there was something recently I was looking up, and Netflix had all but the first movie.
That's
I don't remember
obnoxious.
what it was, and I was just like, "This is so dumb." It's like when you go to the store to like buy a book, and you're like, "Oh boy, can't wait to start this new series." And it's like we got 2, 4, and 8. You're like, "Why?" Like, come on,
Yeah.
Too real.
right?
Too real.
Every manga I want to get into, it's like,
Yeah.
1, 3, and 5 are not available. It's
Yeah,
like,
and I'm
well,
like,
fuck.
dude, I've been sitting on book 2 of Scott Pilgrim for like a year and a half. Nowhere sells 3. Nowhere sells it.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's awful.
Just sell the whole set.
Well, because I already have
And
like,
mine's
1 and 2.
well,
so
that's
then-
what I'm saying. Like, sell the whole set together. And with that, sell an entire franchise. Like Hulu did it right,
Yeah.
getting all the Apes movies, even the 1960s and 70s ones.
Yeah.
It's like, here's all 15 of them or whatever many. Just go at it.
That was
smart.
great. I could just sit down and watch.
Yeah, love it.
It was nice when individual, distribution companies would make their own streaming platform and put all of their shows on it, because it used to be that like Netflix would only have like season 1, 2, and 3 of a show, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you would just never be able to see the rest of it.
Like Suits right now, I think they don't have the last season of Suits. As
There it
the,
goes again.
What is up with? We got to figure out something about that camera.
Yeah.
Well, that's for when we're not actively recording.
No, I know that. Keep talking.
So that was one thing that I enjoyed about individual, companies creating
Yeah.
their own streaming platform. But
Yeah.
now there's just too many streaming platforms, in my
Yeah.
opinion. And it's like, first off, if I can watch, any show, Friday Night Lights is a good example.
Yeah.
It's on both entirely on Amazon
Netflix.
and entirely on Netflix. And I have both of them.
Yeah.
I have Netflix and Amazon Prime. So in a way, it's like I'm losing money by watching that show in
Yeah.
a way.
Yeah.
There's no point for me, and it's redundant. But at the same time, like, I don't know. Technically, it's better than having to wait for reruns on TV. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, or just buy the DVD box set.
Well, I mean,
like you used to.
and then we're coming full circle.
And
again.
now we're coming full circle again. Yeah.
It's also funny because Netflix and Hulu and Peacock are all investing heavily into live sports, which is like basically the only reason anybody has cable nowadays.
Yeah.
So I'm predicting in like 5 years, cable is just gonna die.
gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously, you will still watch everything on your TV in your home.
Yeah.
I mean,
'Cause-
they're already selling TVs as like, here's how to access, like all your favorite streaming services. And
Yeah.
oh wait, it's supposed to have cable. Well,
Yeah.
just toss that
I
Smart
still
TVs.
remember.
Yeah.
I remember when the Roku, like the box, the external box came out, and everybody was blown away by it. And now it's like, oh, you have an external Roku?
Yeah, it's not built into your machine. That's cringe, bro.
I personally like watching which apps are the most popular at any given year based off of the TV remotes that have like the app buttons. Because I think my mom, she has a 2 or 3 year newer TV. Like her TV came out before or
It's
after
a new
mine.
TV.
Yeah, sorry. That was a really roundabout way of saying she has a newer TV than me.
So that really weird.
So like I have a new TV, but my mom also just bought a new TV too.
Yeah,
But like it's almost as new as my
no.
TV is because I have a new TV as well.
No, his is the older.
I'm just gonna lay down.
You can. You're still being free.
But anyways, so she has different buttons in mine. Like mine has,
Yeah.
I think mine has Redbox on it, doesn't it? Yeah, mine has Redbox. It has Netflix and Hulu. Hers has like Peacock. I think Amazon is on there. Paramount.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. It's cool. It's funny to see.
Yeah, you know,
That's
it's just
it.
one of those little quirks where you're like, hey,
Yeah.
oh,
But it's just cable.
but it's just
That's
cable.
all it is.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just become
That's
cable.
all it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
We'll just have to buy each streaming service.
That would be funny. Yeah, that'd be funny.
Because I thought
know
about that
exactly
earlier
what
where I
you're
was like,
talking about.
because obviously all of these media companies are conglomerates now.
Yeah.
Right. It's
big
just
four.
Russian nesting dolls all the way down.
Uh-huh.
But now it's like individual streaming services are their own separate conglomerates
Yeah.
from the rest of them too.
Yeah.
So now you're gonna have to like buy your streaming package from, Spectrum themselves to get this conglomerate of shows owned by this conglomerate over here, made up of all of these individual
Yeah.
subsidiaries.
It's a big meme.
Yeah, it's a big meme.
It's just a big meme.
Is it a bubble?
I mean, it sounds like
I
it.
think it's just gonna be the new wave.
Yeah.
You think it's
Just gonna be
how
the new
things
way
are?
to consume media.
Yeah, and I mean, as it was before, as it will again. Yo ho, yo ho. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of yo-ho, our movie theater's dying. Alamo Drafthouse recently got sold by Sony, or sold to Sony.
I mean, I don't know if they're dying per se. More
Well,
just
you've been to a few Alamo Draft Houses before.
Mm-hmm.
Did it feel like a dying experience?
I mean, they were full most of the time.
We did go for pretty popular
We did go
releases,
for-
though.
Yeah.
I
go
would
for
say
pretty
the only
popular
time that I have in recent years been to a theater and been like, wow, theaters are dying is that one movie we went to go see. I don't remember which one it was, but it was just you, me, and another guy in the theater.
Oh, Five Nights at Freddy's?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I remember I sat down. I was like, wow, this movie came out like
To be
4
fair-
days ago. Like,
Didn't we go like in the middle of the day, though?
I don't think we were that mad. Like, I'm pretty sure it was like
I think
a time
we
where they could
definitely
still
during,
be.
during the week.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
But like it was still kind of new, and I was like,
Yeah,
there
yeah,
should
no.
be children here at
Yeah, yeah,
least.
Did Five Nights at Freddy's kill cinema?
Well, I mean, you know what I mean. Just like,
yeah,
Bro,
there,
I was just
there
like-
have definitely been times where I've gone into a theater and been like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because even like when I was like a kid, and my mom was taking me to go see like movies 3-4 weeks after they came out.
It was always full.
I mean, at least it was like a decent number of people. You know, like
Yeah.
you couldn't shout in the middle of the film and not be looked at. You know what I mean? Like,
We went to She Said one time on a Saturday at like 2, which is like peak.
pretty-
should
that's
be
prime
peak
time, yeah.
I mean, She Said obviously not the most popular movie, but I mean there were probably like 5-6 other women in there,
Yeah.
and it was like
Us included.
yeah. So I figured, yeah, as you guys went to full drag.
again we're allies, Connor.
I know.
We're allies. It was just one of those things where it's like, wow.
The only time I think I've seen a movie recently, very
Ever?
far past its release date, in theaters, and it was still a pretty full audience, was Godzilla -1.
Yeah.
Because that movie had so much like hype and push behind it.
To be fair, that one they like added theaters as the
Yeah.
weeks progressed.
Yeah.
yeah. Because
So
we got it in Austin, I think 2 or 3 months after the initial release.
well, yes, that's true. I
'Cause it was
forgot.
originally,
I saw it
like-
before you guys,
yeah,
and then I
yeah,
saw
yeah.
it again in
Yes.
Arizona.
Yes.
And that was still a packed theater.
Yeah.
Then. So I think part of the issue is
Movies aren't worth watching.
not just that movies aren't worth watching, but
To a
I'm
degree.
thinking literally because think about it like this. We have this big push from a lot of like staple Hollywood directors for IMAX,
Right.
Which is the second biggest that cinema can go. All right. There was the you remember what that old school like
Yes.
that completely is defunct now
Yeah,
and
yeah.
nobody uses it at all because it's stupid.
I don't know the name of it.
I don't
but
remember the
know
name of it
exactly
at
what
all.
I
My
need a
dad
name.
is gonna know. And he's gonna text me afterwards.
Yeah.
No, he'll text you like in a month after.
Yeah.
When he catches up on our
when he
pod.
decides to watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Connor's dad or James's dad.
Connor's dad.
Sorry. sorry.
How'd you know that we're together?
God damn it.
But like, this model for streaming services is essentially repeating what happened to movie theaters,
Yeah.
where it's just that push for bigger theaters means you now have a massive space, but you have to fill that space,
Yeah.
and there's just nothing to fill that space.
Yeah.
And the same thing with streaming, where you now have all this push for content, but there's nobody left to watch it.
Yeah.
So where does it go? It goes to, I don't know, maybe Disney will take all the money they lost with the Galactic Hotel and funnel that back into their Disney
One could hope.
Star Wars projects.
One could hope.
Tearing that
A New Hope. Part 2.
part 2.
Well, technically, it's part 3 now.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
Anyway, that's my
I mean, if they could just funnel that into giving us more places I can build a lightsaber by myself, that'd be great. Anyway.
I feel like theaters they're coming back. I think.
It was.
I think, and I'll say this: my biggest, like, hope. My biggest, the reason I have that hope is when we went to watch Dune 2, and it was packed.
It was packed.
Because we watched the first Dune, and it was not as packed. Obviously, we watched the first Dune in the middle of the pandemic.
That's true.
So, that does lean into that. But watching the second Dune and it being like, an MCU level crowd is like, whoa,
Yeah.
there's hope.
And I do think.
Small independent films are back.
Gotta support our guy, Denis Villeneuve,
Um,
independent filmmaker.
I
not a
do think
sellout.
there is something to be said about the fact that the pandemic did close a lot of
Yeah.
that kind of thing. It's like
Absolutely.
a lot of people are like, well, I mean, I don't need to go to the theater anymore because it's here in my comfort of my home. But
I would-
like, it's coming back. People are starting to be like, you know what? It is fun to go see stuff in the theater.
Yeah, because I've talked about this many times. It's an event. It's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
fun thing to be like, we're going to go watch this movie for 2.5 hours, tune everything else out, and I'm
Yeah.
engrossed in this experience that is hopefully a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Yeah,
And I wouldn't doubt that movies like Tenet or Dune coming out over the pandemic, when people were watching those through streaming,
Yeah.
then made them go, okay, well, I got to see this next
Next guy.
one. I got to
Yeah.
see Oppenheimer in theater now, or I got to
'Cause,
see Dune Part 2 in
I
theater
mean,
now.
watching Barbie with you guys in theaters, even though we have our problems with Barbie, me
a
and
magical
James,
experience.
It was a lot of fun. It was a good time.
It was fun.
It
Yeah,
was so much
it was
fun.
a good time to watch it and like see the crowd react to it. Like
Yeah.
I enjoy that kind
Yeah.
of that
And
experience.
It can take a really bad film and make it better because everybody there, you're sharing that experience of like, wow, this is garbage
Yeah.
with like, however many people can fit in a theater. And you're all just sitting there listening like, man, look at all those groans. Everybody else understands. Everybody gets me right now in this moment. And that's what being a human's all about, isn't it?
Not for me, but knock yourself out.
Yeah, I think we have different criteria for being a human. That's just me. I don't know.
Just having a moment. Let me get off my soapbox really quick.
You're good. You're good. But what do you think the future of Alamo Drafthouse is just going to play Tom Holland movies for from here to eternity?
Sign me up.
I think it's going to open up a floodgate for sure because under antitrust laws that have been around since the early theaters, media companies and movie studios weren't allowed to own theaters because
Yeah.
it's essentially a vertical monopoly.
Yeah.
You own all facets of production that way. So with that said, I think you're going to see Disney maybe start to, especially Disney and Apple, I think are going to be the big players in trying to buy theaters.
Not Apple.
because
Apple will build
Disney-
their own theaters.
Disney, Apple will buy their own because Disney does have a history of buying screens in theaters. They won't necessarily say, "Hey, we're going to buy the theater," but like, I think Tarantino was on record during the Hateful Eight where they bought out all the IMAX theaters
Yeah.
for I think it was I was going to say A New Hope again. for Force Awakens, and he was pissed off because he originally signed a contract where it was like, you're gonna show my movie in IMAX for 3 weeks, and they were like, well, we'll buy you out of it, and he's like, fucking Disney, like they're gonna buy me out of my shit like that. So it's like,
Didn't the same thing happen with the Marvels as well?
I'm sure it did.
Yeah. Because I remember Disney wanted the Marvels to be released in IMAX.
Yeah.
And there was some, I think it was actually probably Top Gun Maverick, I think it was, that was coming out in IMAX at the same time. And Marvel was like, why'd you take our theaters from us, bro? Why'd you take our theaters?
Because before you would just move slots, you would just
Yeah.
move times. But now I think Disney has so much muscle in the industry
Yeah.
that it's kind of like,
Yeah, Disney can just
nah,
throw
we want
elbows.
Memorial Day weekend. Fuck you. We're just gonna take it. And it's, I mean, I don't personally like that just for like as a consumer.
Yeah.
It's a
But
little worrisome.
as a capitalist, I respect the hell out of it.
Vanderbilt's rolling in his grave now, and I'm like, why the fuck? Rockefeller's gonna come back to life.
Thomas Edison's like, it should have been me, not him.
It's like genius play by their part. But
I don't
there
know.
it goes again.
All right, that camera's done.
Why should have been recording this entire time? We just have shots of Isaac just getting up and just like...
it's recording. It's hitting the. It's the red button in the
Yeah.
top right. Yeah, it's recording. I don't know. We just got to figure something out with it.
Is it just like
a new camera.
shutting the camera or the shutter? Or like
It's an
what's-
old camera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's just bad.
It might just be old.
Sorry.
Anyways, so as I look at the camera, anything you guys want to say? Yeah, you guys want to? You guys want to get on?
Man, that was such a good visual gag that nobody's gonna see.
You guys want to get?
Yeah, get over on the couch.
All right, fine. Hold up.
Any last statements you want to say?
Hold up. Let me just get next to
People
Isaac.
the 5 people who listen to this on Spotify are like, "What the fuck is going on this whole time?"
All right, James, get in here.
No, I'm good here.
I'll just
Okay, yeah, we'll just get
I'll
close.
pop my head in real quick.
What were we talking about?
Bob Iger
Movie
coming out.
theaters.
Good for him.
Disney potentially buying theaters.
Oh right, theaters. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's.
How do you feel as a consumer? Does that scare you?
Oh, incredible.
They'll
Yeah.
control what you consume.
Well, I mean, just
a way.
more of like you said, like it's a
It's like the
vertical monopoly,
IRS
like, it's just
controlling how
gonna
much
get-
you can pay in taxes.
All right, well, let's not get.
As long as any,
I've been on brain rot.
as long as any Apple-built theaters do not require you to wear that stupid headset, I am fine.
I wonder if Apple would ever. Let's call our shots now. Would Apple require you to sign up for an Apple ID?
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
100%. Not even a question.
That's how you
They're
would have to
in
buy a
the
ticket.
works about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you buy
Yeah.
the ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guarantee it.
Okay. It's like Amazon with Whole Foods, that
Yeah.
like transactionalist thing
Yeah.
where they're like, if you log into your Amazon account, you just walk in and out of the. That'd be kind of cool.
100%.
Dude. Okay.
Loki, I kind of want to try that at a Whole Foods. I don't know if they still do it, but that'd be cool to try.
They're definitely, by the way, still tracking that even if you're not signed up for it,
What?
because.
Whole Foods?
Yeah, Whole
Oh,
Foods. and
everybody
Amazon.
does it. Target does it.
Well, no, because like I went to Whole Foods, right? Bought some stuff because I
Yeah.
needed something that HEB couldn't sell. Went home, was looking something up, and Amazon was like, "Oh, when you purchased this like 3 weeks ago,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "How the hell did you know that?"
Target and Walmart do it too, and I think they do it where it's like because your phone is logged in, so it like
wasn't.
connects to the register.
My phone isn't logged into my Amazon account.
You're
Yeah.
always logged in.
I guess it's really what the question is. Yeah, like
You're never not logged into
yeah,
Amazon.
I know it's I'm geotagged.
Yeah.
It's a chip in my brain.
This iPad doesn't have Amazon in it, and I still get Amazon ads
No,
of like stuff that I look up on my phone or computer.
well that's cookies.
Yum.
That sounds delicious.
Let me IT guy really quick.
That's bad.
As you can tell, I'm not an IT guy.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing. That's a
Okay.
whole different conversation. Which
It's
I mean,
still
it,
weird.
It technically could explain. It's more of just like they're like, oh, we know that you used your credit card to pay for this, and I'm like, excuse me,
Yeah.
you
so
shouldn't have access to that information. Wells Fargo, I have questions.
Wells Fargo. We have questions. Wells Fargo.
That's true. Yeah, that's
like-
kind of
Like that's
invasive.
But anyway,
Scary world. Scary world.
yeah.
What are you gonna do?
I mean, I have access to all that data for my company now.
Oh.
I got a mild promotion, and I can see everything that we collect. And I was like, wow, our users agreement does
Speaking
not
of
say we
which-
keep this.
Speaking of which, when are you gonna get us a advert for your company? Do I need to go up there and like?
Isaac, I'm probably not going to be in this company for much longer.
So I gotta go up there and Mad Men it. I gotta be like.
I'm
meaning-
gonna
I just gotta-
quit and then just slap a poster up.
I gotta pull a Don Draper and just the meaning of happiness. You want to come work for Hit Play?
You want to pay me?
We don't get paid.
Well, it's not work, is it?
That's why we get ads on Spotify.
Well, we were before Connor said I'm actually late stage capitalist mod. God damn it! All right, any last thoughts before we go?
No thoughts.
Sorry
had
about
empty.
the technical
Yeah, no, I
difficulties
thought,
today, both audio and visually.
My apologies for that. It's my camera that kept dying. So
It's okay.
sorry.
We'll work on it.
It was a bit of a rambler cast. We didn't
It was
really,
fun. Yeah, it
was
just kinda
fun,
just
though.
covered everything we
I
could
like
think of.
this setup where we're on the couch.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
a
it
little
works a
more
little.
cozy.
I think it works a little better.
I mean, these things are a little bit awkward to hold. They're kind of thick.
They're a little heavy. Yeah,
A little
once-
heavy. Like, I feel like I need like both
I
hands.
feel like the audio's gonna come back and it's just gonna be like.
yeah, it's gonna be super gargled. None of us kept our mouths by it. Like, it's just gonna be a lot of like, whoa.
It's gonna take me like 6 hours to try and figure out like.
James and I are gonna get a message in the middle of the night while we're sleeping of Isaac mid edit, just like, why?
Nah, we've been really good about our microphone etiquette. I think.
Yeah, because that was when I was on a stand. And I didn't
Yeah.
have to like.
If anything, I feel like free forming it like makes you more
Freebird?
conscious of it. I don't know. Anyways, okay, Connor, you're gonna have to scoot over so I can do my exit. James, do you want to get in the shot?
You're good.
For I'm Isaac. That was Connor right there. That's James at the end. Hey, make sure you guys go follow us on Spotify if you haven't already. Follow
And
us-
Instagram.
and Instagram, and YouTube. Anywhere else they want to follow us? Discord. Don't follow us on Discord.
Don't go on our Discord.
That's where you will see the complaining about editing.
yeah, our Discord isn't.
Yeah, the Discord is where. Yeah. Anyways,
Discord, a lot of arguments happen.
see you guys later. Thanks for tuning
Thanks
in.
for watching. Till next time. I might be there.